What is up, bangers? In today's video we're gonna see how to make a sustained bass like this one. They can be used both as the main synth or background element and contribute into building tension in your tracks. So go grab a drink, some food, and let's start now. Our sound is decomposed in 3 layers. The first one is the high layer, which sounds like this. On top of that, we have a noise layer. And then to fill up the low frequencies, we have the low body layer. Alright, let's turn off all the effects on the group by pressing 0, and let's see how we synthesize the first one. It's a FM path, which means we use the frequency of oscillator B to modulate the frequency of oscillator A. For oscillator A, we choose an analog square saw wavetable, and we put the wavetable position at about 80%, so we have a nice mix between a saw wave and a square wave. Now we want to add that extra high-pitched sound, and we will use oscillator B for that. We will use an analog CGW wavetable and pitch it up 1 octave. Then we will automate the coarse pitch with LFO1 like so, and you can play around with the values so you get a sound you really like. I will choose 38. It sounds like this. Then what you want to do is choose FM from B and put it at around 30%. You can change the values to get a different tone. I like 30. We have a really great bass. Now let's add some filtering to add movement and resonance in our sound. I will choose the low pass 12 filter and automate the cutoff and the resonance with LFO1 like I did. Now it sounds like this. It's already a little more alive. Let's jump into the FX section. I will add distortion. It's a diode one, it's really subtle, but it adds harmonics to the sound. Then you want to add a phaser and turn the phase all the way down, the rate all the way down, and play around with the frequency and the depths. Change the tone of your sound. For the filter, I choose an all passes filter, and it adds a little more noise and room to our sound. Just automate the cutoff with LFO2 like so we get a really cool attack. See, it's almost bubbly. Then to finish, I added an EQ and used that as a filter to add even more movement to the sound. It's all modulated by LFO1. That's pretty much it for the patch. Now let's move on to the post-processing. It's pretty simple, it's a reverb to give it some room. A bunch of saturation and multi-band compression to really squash the sound. Even some EQing to get rid of the harsh frequencies. And finally, even more EQing to get rid of the really harsh frequencies. That's pretty much it for the first layer. Let's move on to the second one. Quick pause before continuing the video to let you know that there are actually 2 promos on our shop. The first one is 20% off the sample pack with the 20 subs code at checkout. It's only limited to 10 uses, so be quick. The second promo is you're getting any project file for free when buying the sample pack, so choose carefully. Thanks for your attention, let's continue the tutorial. The noise layer is a simple serum patch. We just modulated the noise level with a really fast LFO. You can play around with the rate of the LFO as well as the different noise available to get a different sound. Just use Die2 in the FX section and you're done. Now for post-processing, it's just harsh effect to give it extra stereo, some saturation, and a lot of EQing to only keep the high ends. Then we use an utility and automated the gain to give it a really slow attack. Our last layer is the low mid layer because our bass actually lack a lot of information in that frequency range. So it's a pretty simple patch. It's just a square wave with a low pass filter and a really slow attack, and it sounds like this. I've remade it in Serum so it's more visual for you. So you see it's a square wave with a slow attack and everything goes through a low pass 24 filter, and the cutoff is automated by this shape, which is basically the envelope you see in Operator just here. Then for post-processing, it's pretty simple. It's just an overdrive in the low end to boost a bit the frequencies there, some EQing to only keep the low ends and get rid of the extra resonance, OTT to squash the sound, and even more EQing. And now, all together, our bass sounds like this. Alright, our sustain bass is starting to sound really great, but we still need to glue the layer together, so let's process them. First of all, I added a small amount of OTT. Then I dropped an EQ to get rid of the sub bass. Then I dropped the update of our Disto chain, which is available on our website. And it's super handy because you can mess around with a lot of parameters really easily. So it's basically saturation, compression, stereo, and reverb. And you can mess around with parameters such as resonance and add even more noise. Then it's just an EQ to have a more pleasing sound. Then it's all about adding fillers, which are from our sample pack, except this one, which is from the original track, and some drums, which also are from our sample pack. I just saturated a bit the group with the Sinoid Fold. And then it's time for our sub bass, which is a simple analog scene wavetable in which I drew random harmonics, some tube distortion, overdrive, EQing, saturation, and utility to get a mono signal. And we are done. Let's listen one last time to the final result. Right guys, that's pretty much it for today's video. Just remember, sustain basses are made with FM synthesis between a low-pitched wavetable and an high-pitched wavetable. Just drag some saturation and compression on top of that and you should end up with a cool result. Don't forget to support the channel for more music production tutorials and make sure to check our website for exclusive resources and to learn more about the NFT side of the project. Thanks for watching and see you next week.